We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Section 8, Canto 8, Chapter 24, verse 37. Aham tvam rishibhi sardam sahanavam udanvati vikarshan vicharishyami yavad brahmini sa prabho. Aham, I, tvam, unto you. There should be with all the saintly persons. Sardam, altogether. Saha, with. Navam, the boat. Udanvati, in the water of devastation. Vikarshan, contacting. Visharishyami, I shall travel. Yavat, as long as. Brahmi, pertaining to Lord Brahma. Nisha, night. Prabhu, O King. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Srila Prabhupada. Pulling the boat with you and all the rishis in it, O King, I shall travel in the water of devastation until the night of Lord Brahma's slumber is over. Responsively, pulling the boat with you and all the rishis in it, O King, I shall travel in the water of devastation until the night of Lord Brahma's slumber is over. Purport. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Srila Prabhupada. This particular devastation actually took place not during the night of Lord Brahma, but during his day. For it was during the time of Chakshusha Manu. Brahma's night takes place when Brahma goes to sleep. But in the daytime, there are 14 Manus, one of whom is Chakshusha Manu. Therefore, Srila Vishnavath Chakravarti Thakur comments that although it was daytime for Lord Brahma, Brahma felt sleepy for a short time by the supreme will of the Lord. This short period is regarded as Lord Brahma's night. This has been elaborately discussed by Srila Rupa Goswami in Laghu Bhagavad-Amrita. The following is the summary of his analysis. Because Agastya Muni was cursed by Swayambhuv Manu, during the time of Swayambhuv Manu, a devastation took place. This devastation is mentioned in the Matsya Puran. During the time of Chakshusha Manu, by the supreme will of the Lord, there was suddenly another pralaya, or devastation. This is mentioned by Markandeya Rishi in the Vishnu Dharmottara. At the end of Manu's time, there is not necessarily a devastation. But at the end of the Chakshusha Manvantara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by His illusory energy, wanted to show Satyavrata the effects of devastation. Srila Sridhar Swami also agrees with this opinion. This pastime of Matsya Avatar is the first pastime of the group of avatars who are known in Sanskrit as Das Avatar. In India, if you mention the Sanskrit word avatar, people will immediately think of one of Lord Hari's avatars. Throughout India, different groups of people, different cultures, different sets of devotees have a favorite avatar. So when you mention the word avatar in India, people will think of some of the different avatars which can go beyond the 10 main avatars. But if you mention the word avatar in the Western world, they will think of Pandora. What is Pandora? Pandora is a planet. Pandora is a planet in a 3-dimensional movie, a science fiction movie. The name of the movie was Avatar. So when you mention Avatar, people think of the movie. The movie has been the most successful box office movie in the whole of history. Since movies began to be made 100 years ago, maybe 120 years ago, when movies start to be made, the moving image started to be produced, this has reached its peak in the movie Avatar, judged by the box office receipts. Box office means how much people pay for tickets, how much ticket money is collected. Because Avatar has collected $2.75 billion. Now in India, we calculate numbers in a different system, and a value of 10 million is 1 crore. So this movie has grossed 650 crores of rupees, one single movie. And because of the success of the movie, which was made 10 years ago, they brought out a video game, and the video game has sold 2.7 million units, 270 lakh, because a lakh is 100,000 in India, 270 lakhs of units of this video game. So when you mention Avatar, people think of Pandora, a moon, which is in the Alpha Centauri star system, 2,650 light years away, where humans were colonizing the planet to obtain a mineral called unobtainium, which they needed for, it was a room temperature semiconductor, because on planet Earth, 100 years from now, they had exhausted all of the resources. They had no more fuel, no more means to make energy. So it was a very, very difficult condition. So they went all this distance to... So in this film, in this movie, an avatar was a genetically engineered body of one of the local tribe who lived there. They lived in an atmosphere of poisonous gas. There was not a high oxygen content to our form of life where we need oxygen to breathe. So they had a different gas mix on this planet, which they were adapted to, but was poisonous for us. So avatars were genetically engineered body of a local tribe person, and this was operated remotely from another person by his brain, by his mental power. He would control the avatar, and so he could get on with the business of colonizing and mining and abstracting this rare element called unobtainium. So today, if you speak to any young person in the Western world, even here in India, where children also play games, if you speak to any person and mention the word avatar, they may think that you are alluding to, you are mentioning your video game character. So on the video game, you can be one of the personalities, and this is your avatar. And you may mention yourself. You may portray yourself in games or online as your avatar, as your icon. You may say, super scary ninja warrior. This may be your avatar. This may be your identity. So your computer identity, this in the Western countries, they say this avatar. Of course, the Sanskrit word avatar means to descend. The word means to descend. So there are innumerable avatars of Hari, of Lord Vishnu, Narayan. He has many, many names. The Vishnu Sahasranam, it mentions 1,000 names of Vishnu. So there's many, many different names, many, many different avatars. He has many, many different attributes. But this avatar, which is mentioned in this chapter, chapter 24, it's the Matsya avatar. In order to differentiate between avatar, as the word is commonly used now in the Western world, and a genuine Vishnu avatar, we must get to the very heart of Vaishnavism, of Krishna consciousness, as Vaishnavism has been registered in the Western world. And the very heart of this is that the individual soul, the jiva is the word in Sanskrit, the individual soul and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because the Supreme Person, Krishna, descends to the material world as avatar, we don't generally use the word God, we use the word Godhead, which means the same thing, but it indicates a plural, it indicates many. So the correct term to use is their lordships of Godhead, because there are many, many innumerable avatars. But whichever avatar we consider, the individual jiva is eternally different from the avatar, because we are very, very small, and Krishna, Bhagavan, the person, the great God, the Godhead, he is very, very good, very, very great. And Krishna himself says in Bhagavad-Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavata bharataha abhuchanayam adharmasya tadamyaham srijamyaham. He said, tadamyaham, he said, I myself, srijam manifests, aham, I myself manifest. Tadatmanam srijamyaham. So, in the movie, there was a genetic modification to make a body of material elements. And the power to manipulate this body in a kind of virtual reality was coming from a remote person who used his brain to manipulate the person. Whereas Krishna is very different. He himself comes, and he himself is not composed of material elements. He comes to the material world, but he's not composed of the material elements. The Mahabharata is a huge epic story of 100,000 verses. Each verse is a couplet, so there's 200,000 lines in the Mahabharata. And the Bhagavad-Gita, in which Krishna is speaking, 700 verses. This is collectively called the Bhagavad-Gita. This is within the 18 books of the Bhagavad-Gita. It's the 6th book, the Bhishma Parva, chapters 23 to 42. So in this, Krishna, we'll quote several times from this, but he says, Yada yada hi dharmasya. Yada yada means wherever and whenever. So whenever or wherever there is, he comes for the pleasure of his devotees and to disturb the work, the activities of the demoniac people who are also always in opposition to the devotees. In the Bhagavatam, another scripture, one of the Puranas that we're reading today, in another section, in 1-6, Canto 1, chapter 2, verse 6, it says, Savai pumsa parodharmo yato bhaktira toksaje adhoitiki aprityata yayatma suprasidati. It is here mentioned that the supreme dharma, the supreme occupation which a person can engage in, is how to execute bhakti, how to execute the loving service of the Supreme Avatar. So, rather than us being the Avatar, rather than us manipulating the Avatar, rather than us have superhuman powers which we can enjoy through the genetically modified body of our Avatar, the correct understanding is that the Avatar descends in a transcendental body, not a materially genetified body, but the Avatar descends and we can communicate with this Avatar. We can take shelter of this Avatar. We can enjoy the facilities offered by this Avatar if we submit to an exchange of bhakti. Bhakti is the yoga. Yoga means to link or to join with the Avatar. If we submit, if we engage in the yoga, the joining with love and gratitude, this is the essence of bhakti. So bhakti means to understand the avatars. In the same Bhagavata, in Canto 1, chapter 3, verse 26, it says, Avatara yasankyeya harir sattva nidher jivaha. It says, Avatara, the meaning of the word avatar, this was a Sanskrit verse, the meaning of the word avatar is incarnations. The meaning of asankyeya is innumerable. Hari is of Hari, one of the names of Vishnu, Narayan, Hari. Nidhe is oceans. Avidas ina is inexhaustible. Kulyam, streams or rivulets, very small streams of moving water. Sarash is of vast lakes. Sahasraha is thousands of. Sutta Goswami utters these words. Vyasadeva, a sage, was the original author, the original reciter of this Bhagavad Puran. Then Sukadeva Goswami, he recited the Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit, who was destined to die within 7 days. So knowing that his end had come, he completely immersed himself in hearing about the avatars of the Supreme Lord. And by this hearing, which he did very, very successfully, he is considered to have perfected his life and became eligible for no longer needing to have a material body and take birth after birth in this material world. So he was liberated from the confines, from the restraints of the material energy. Maharaj Parikshit, when he was hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, one other sage called Sutta Goswami was there. And later, Sutta Goswami, he recited the contents of the Bhagavatam, the 18,000 verses of the Bhagavatam. He recited this to a gathering of very saintly people, sages, in the forest of Namasharanya. So, Sutta Goswami, having heard the Bhagavatam, he repeated this. And he said this verse of the innumerable incarnations which were inexhaustible like rivulets of water. He composed this verse as saying, the incarnations of the Lord are innumerable like rivulets of water flowing from inexhaustible sources. So the idea he is trying to convey is that if we have a vast, inexhaustible source of water, and the Sanskrit words used are lakes and oceans. If we have a vast, inexhaustible source of water, and if we have small rivulets, just very, very small sources of water which is running off the inexhaustible, then these are considered to be like the avatars. In the verse prior to this, 22 different avatars were mentioned. Amongst them were Hayagriva, Hari, Hamsa, Satyasena, Vishvaksena, Dharmasetu, Yogeshwar, and others. And each of these incarnations is entirely separate, has an entirely different function, different personality. He has different lila. Lila means his game, means his activity. And these activities, these games, these pastimes, these sports, which the avatar enacts for his own pleasure, for the reciprocal pleasure of dealing with his devotees, and by his deterring the activities of the impious people who are disturbing the devotees in their worship of the Supreme Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 7th canto, verse 9, chapter 9, verse 38, Prahlad Maharaj, he says that he's praying to Narsimhadev, a particular incarnation who appeared as half man, half lion. Prahlad is a little boy, he's a little schoolboy, but he's very highly intelligent because he is a bhakta, he is a devotee. He's considered the topmost of all the devotees because mostly devotees have a nice life. They're in harmony with God's plan. They're in harmony with nature. They're eco, they're sattvic, they're vegetarian, they're living simply, they're not building huge ugra karma. Ugra karma means unwanted things, factories and buildings and mills to make some product for our enjoyment. They have no need for this because they have a very natural internal enjoyment that's derived from their relationship with the Supreme Lord. The highest enjoyment that we can ever get is from relationships. A person is working so hard day and night, doing so many things, working so hard so he can come home and enjoy with his family. He can enjoy with his wife. He can enjoy with his children. On the weekend, especially in the Western world, the husband, he goes and enjoys with his friends. And the woman, she has a girls' night out and she enjoys with her friends. So this relationship, this is the topmost pleasure. And people are doing all of these different activities simply to have this loving reciprocal relationships. So Prahlad Maharaj, he's considered the topmost devotee because he underwent so much material tribulation at the hands of his own father, who wanted to stop him in his endeavors to have a relationship with the Supreme Lord, because his father was of an impious nature. He didn't want to accept God, didn't want to acknowledge him. He wanted to be the supreme. This is the position of the atheistic people. They themselves feel, I am the supreme. Especially those who are more intelligent or more successful. He may say, I'm a scientist. I understand these things. My research is foremost. Nobody understands as much as I do. I am the supreme person. I don't want to acknowledge another supreme person. So Prahlad's father, he had a very bad, very pronounced case of this, where he thought he was. So he gave Prahlad much, there's a whole section, several chapters of the Bhagavatam describe the plight of. So Prahlad, he said to Nrsimha, he said, you appear as a human being, an animal, a very wise yogi, a saintly person, a sage, as a demigod. Demigods are beings in the higher planetary systems who have engagement with the different functions of the universe. So they are the civil service. There is the Prime Minister, and he has a civil service in which they enact, they carry out all of the different functions which he proclaims. So these are the demigods. A demigod, he says to Nrsimha, you come as a fish, you come as a tortoise. So all of these avatars are considered complete. The word that Srila Prabhupada uses, the English word that he uses to denote their completeness is plenary. Plenary means a complete. There may be a plenary gathering of parliament. There's some national emergency, some war, and everybody, it's complete. Everyone is there. That's considered plenary. So plenary, a plenary incarnation means he has the complete attributes of the Supreme Person. There's also less complete. These are plenary portions of plenary. There's a Vaishya, which is more powerful. There is Vibhuti, which is less powerful. So I'm trying to give some understanding that the incarnations are innumerable. As innumerable, it says in one place, as the waves of the ocean. So if a person were to spend his lifetime at the ocean, counting the waves of the ocean, the waves of water that were coming in. And we understand we can live for 100 years, 50 years. And history is vast. It goes to millions of years. So even in these millions of years of lifetimes of counting the waves of the ocean, this only gives an approximation of the different avatars which are coming. But Krishna, of all these, we can say millions of avatars. But Krishna, he declares in the Bhagavad Puran, first canto, rather it is declared, Bhagavad 1:3-38, Iti chamsa kalopamsa, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam, that the source of the incarnations is Bhagavan Sri Krishna. So Krishna, this is Vrindavan, we are sitting in Vrindavan. This is the place where Krishna is worshipped. This is Braj, in Braj Mandal. This is where Krishna performed his pastimes when he came to our vision as a small boy, a small cowherd boy. He was a village boy. He would look after the cows. He would be with his friends. He had an older brother, Balaram, who felt protective of him. He had so many cowherd boys, so many friends. There were elder people who also cared for Krishna. Krishna also had girls, cowherd girls, who were very fond of him, very attracted to him, wanted to serve him nicely, particularly Radharani. So we have here in Vrindavan Radha Krishna, and the people of Vrindavan, they're very attracted to Radharani's mood of loving and caring for Krishna. So as you pass in the street, people will say Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe. The rickshawala, he's driving his rickshaw, and there is a crowd of pilgrims thronging the road. And he will say, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe. This is his, please move out of the way. So Radhe Radhe, the people are full of this affection for Radharani. So Krishna, he is the original Bhagavan, original person. And in first canto, chapter 3, verse 37, the phrase is used in the verse, it is Natyacharyam. And Natyacharyam means like a dramatic performance. So the devotees, they are under no illusion that this simple little trick that the Lord is enacting, it's just him having fun. So when the devotees become so absorbed in love of Krishna, so enamored by their relationship with Krishna, which is so fulfilling and so satisfying and so loving, they can become so completely absorbed in this loving feeling that they forget that actually this little boy having fun, he is actually the source of all these different incarnations, the source of the material world. The Lord creates the whole of the spiritual world and the whole of the material world simply as a stage to enact his pastimes. He creates the living entities, us, the individual souls, simply so we can reciprocate him, with him in these pastimes. But if we become fully absorbed in these pastimes, to the point that we are just so ever overwhelmed by loving relationships, in different rasas, in different types, in different categories. As a friend, as a parent, as a servant, as one of his girlfriends. So each of them have a different type of love. But we can get so absorbed in this, but that we become covered by illusion, by yoga maya, so that we forget we are dealing with Krishna. We are just so overwhelmed. So he is doing this, it says, Natacharyam. It's just his dramatic performance. He may appear to be afraid of his mother. He may run in fear because he has done something naughty and she wants to chastise him. Or he may have joking with his friends. They may be playing games, wrestling, climbing on each other. So that he is just having fun, just having drama. So in another place it's described that this is like a magician doing a trick. There have been so many famous magicians doing so many tricks. There was one magician in the Western world. He would have this trick in which he would have someone come, and the time, what's the time? It's 7:32. He would cover the watch. He would say, okay, covered it like, and by his mind, he would stop the watch. So after some time, he'd say, okay, what time? And now it's 7:46. What is it? They say, wow, it's 7:22. 7:30, wow, how did... So what he was doing, he had a special outfit, special clothing, and round his wrist, he had many turns of wire. He was making an electromagnet. And the wires went to his shoes. He had metal tips on his shoes. So he would go and he would stand in a special place of the stage and stand on two metal wires, two terminals. And when he would get someone and his accomplice, they would see someone who had a kind of watch, electric watch, that would just be destroyed by a huge electric, just like here in India sometimes there is a spike in the electricity and it destroys your computer or your radio. The electricity is too. So he would do like this by electromagnetism. He would stand and they would pick someone, okay, you sir, come here sir. The man would come, he would get him, he would stand, and he said, okay, this is what I want you to do. I want to cover your hand like this, just cover your watch. And when he was just demonstrating, they would pull the switch, all this electricity, it would destroy the watch, it'd say, okay, so you cover it like this, okay, fine. He would cover the watch, and then he would do his meditation, he would be sweating, people would music, this and that, and after some time, he would just be exhausted by doing this mental, he'd say, okay, wow, 7:32. So then, okay, fine. So then the guy, he was wondering when his watch was going to start again. So he would be hanging around after the show and he'd say, oh, can he get my watch to start again? So then he was gone. So then the manager, he was there, he said, I think he's gone. He said, I'll tell you what. He said, how much did this watch cost? And he saw it's a 500 rupee watch. It's a $50 watch. And he said, how much is a watch? What is it, like $200? Is it like a 2,000 rupee? He would give a very high price. And the man would say, oh, I'm not sure. It was a gift. He said, look, why just buy yourself another watch? And he'd be very happy because he got so much money. But of course, they sold hundreds of... So it's a trick. So the magician, he does so many tricks. And he has to think of a clever way to do the trick. And it's all just smoke and mirrors, sleight of hand. Because the whole destruction of the watch happened when he covered the watch with the magnet under his sleeve, and it destroyed the watch. It took 2 seconds. Now he's doing the drama for 10 minutes, meditating, and just his mind is, this is the trick. So it's said that Krishna, when he comes, It's like a magician doing the trick. In this same chapter, first canto, it is said, only those who render unreserved, uninterrupted, favorable devotional service unto the lotus feet of Krishna, can they have knowledge of the Creator of the universe in His full glory and full transcendence, a real avatar. Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 7, verse 1. The first 6 chapters, Baladev Vidyabhusana, one of our predecessor acharyas, he said the first 6 chapters are about the swarup, the form of the jiva. The next 6 chapters are about the form, the swarup of the Supreme Lord. Chapter 7 is the start of these 6 chapters. And verse 1 is the very, very start of this. In this verse, the Lord said, Lord Krishna himself, the source of the incarnations, he's having a leela, he's having a game, he's having a pastime with Arjun, who is his chariot driver. Krishna is the chariot driver of Arjun. Arjun is a warrior, he's fighting a battle. This is in the Mahabharata. He's having doubts about what his activity should be. Krishna is resolving his doubts. They say Krishna was the first motivational speaker. He gives him the motivation to act. Not, it has to be, it's in the battle, has to be quick. They don't have a lot of time. Battle's about to begin. It's not a very long philosophical thing that he can ponder on, he can meditate on for years. No, it's short, it's sweet, it's snappy. Arjun fights after this. So Krishna, in this, it is said, the Lord said to Arjun, he said, with mind absorbed in me, engaging in service to me alone, establishing a loving relationship with me. This is the essence of bhakti, this reciprocal loving relationship. You will know me in my complete form, free from doubt. However, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Baladev Vidyabhusana, they say it's actually not possible to know Krishna in full, because we have a very limited capacity. We can only understand so much. It is possible that we can know Krishna as much as we can, by huge devotion, by huge dedication, by Krishna revealing himself to us more and more, by us understanding what is the nature of avatar, what is the nature of his appearance and disappearance in this material world. We can qualify ourselves not to be in the material world anymore, to escape from this wheel of samsara, this wheel of suffering of birth and death. We can, by knowing Krishna, but we can only know Krishna to a certain capacity. The word that Krishna uses is samagram, completely. But it's impossible to know everything about Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in this book we're reading, in the 12th book, the 12th canto, verse 4, chapter 39, it is said, Katsneya Najopi Abidatum Ishaha. It's said that even Lord Brahma himself, Lord Brahma is the demigod who was given the elements of the material world in order to create the planetary systems, in order to create the universe. The understanding is that there are innumerable universes. The scientists, they say multidimensional. They think there could be 17 different dimensions with string theory. Innumerable universes. And in each of the universe, there is a Brahma. He is the creator of the material. He's given the material elements, just like a chef, a cook, is given the ingredients, and he makes some preparation. So the preparation that Lord Brahma makes is the material world. And there in the kitchen, there are innumerable chefs making innumerable preparations. But it is said that even Lord Brahma himself, who has the intelligence, who has the ingenuity to make the planetary systems and the orbits and the ecosystems and the entity and all of this, he has the capacity to do this. In South India, there is a gentleman, now he's in the United States, he's getting paid a lot of money, he's working for NASA. He can recite the decimal points of pi. Pi is, for practical purposes, we say 3.142. But it's 3.14157. It's not a, it goes on forever. He can recite this to 20,000 places. It takes him 2.5 hours. I'm not sure if he's remembered 20,000 increments, numbers, or if he's just very quickly dividing. Divide by 7, I'm not sure if he's dividing but anyhow, he is just doing it very, very quick. So much so he gets paid a lot of money and they're asking his advice on this. He's considered a very highly intelligent person. So Lord Brahma, we can imagine how highly intelligent he is. So it said, even Lord Brahma himself would be incapable of describing the pastimes of the Lord entirely. So we can only understand so much, but the understanding that we have, the understanding we can cultivate is sufficient to immerse us fully in a loving reciprocation with the avatar so that we can join him in pastimes in the spiritual world, which is the most of the creation. The material world, small part of the creation. The person who conceived of the film Avatar, his name is James Cameron. Each of the people who contribute to the making of the film, each of the people get money. However, James Cameron, he wrote the script, he directed the movie, he produced the movie, and he co-edited. When they had all the film and they were putting it together and decided what should be in, he was there also. So of the $2.7 billion that this film grossed, he got a huge amount of this money because he wrote the script. It was his product. He himself directed. He didn't hire some expensive person. He directed, okay, you do this. He directed the whole play, the whole activity within the movie. He produced the movie and he edited the movie. So we can imagine how much money this man made. He has announced that there's going to be a sequel. There's going to be part 2, which is going to be released next year. A new video game and a new movie. Since the other one was made 10 years ago, and all this money immediately started coming in, he started to work on part 2. For 10 years, he's been researching, he's been planning, he's been executing, he's ready to, the film has been going on, the filming, the production, for 10 years. You can imagine how much impetus he has. So much money that no one can even dream about. He has made, he has in his pocket, he wants more. And he has the budget, he has the facility, he has the desire, he has the motivation to make for the research into what is avatar. But it's not possible for him to know, no matter how much he spends, no matter how much he invests, even if he gets this guy from South India who can recite pi to 20,000 places, he has big people like this helping him in his research, big scholars, big researchers. He cannot understand what is avatar, because avatar is not available to human understanding. In the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna speaks the 700 verses of the Bhagavad-Gita to Arjuna to give him philosophical understanding of what is the nature of the individual soul, and what is the nature of the avatar, and what is the most conducive relationship between the individual soul and the avatar. So Krishna sums up all of his instructions by the verse, Sarva Dharma Parijaja Mamekam Saranam Braja Aham Tum Sarva Papepyo Moksha Yashami Masuchaha. In English language this says, give up all dharmas, give up all methods of research, give up all methods of inquiry, of all methods of concluding what is avatar, and just surrender unto me. He said, I will deliver you from all adverse situations. Do not fear. In the purport to this verse, Baladev Vidyabhushana quotes from the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 18, verse 28. He says, Sharanagati, surrender, has 6 elements. Krishna is saying, give up all types of research, all types of activity. The word for this is dharma, and just surrender unto me. Baladev Vidyabhushana quotes, surrender has 6 factors: accepting what is favorable, rejecting what is unfavorable, having faith that the Lord will protect a person, accepting dependence on the Lord, placing oneself fully to the Lord, and meekness. Meekness is described as not having any arrogance. So, by accepting what is favorable, rejecting what is unfavorable, taking the Lord's protection, dependent on the Lord, placing oneself fully under the Lord, and not being arrogant about this, we can understand what is the nature of avatar. Mr. James Cameron, who's sitting on the greater part of $2.7 billion, who's putting a huge amount of this into Avatar, was the most popular film in the whole of the history of film. It made more money than anything. He wants to make part 2, but he will never ever understand what is Avatar, because in Kali Yuga the sages have proclaimed the most efficient way to understand Avatar is by the chanting of the mantra, which is the most potent mantra in Kali Yuga for understanding Avatar and our relationship with Avatar in loving devotion. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.